Because I have the director of the movie on with me on Skype during our Technical Fubar show. Hey, dude, what's going on with you today?
Hey, good morning, good afternoon.
Yeah, you know, it's been a really interesting time, and I'm so excited that we were able to do this because when you guys announced this film, I was following it. I was watching for it. I was waiting for it. And then I had forgotten because it was so long. And then out of the clear blue, hey, would you like to watch this movie? Maybe interview the guy? I was like, I will do it in a heartbeat. So I'm just going to flat it.
It's been a long war.
So what took it so long to get here?
Well, there's a number of issues. You know, there's a classic pyramid. They say good, cheap, and fast, right?
Yes.
You can have a good and cheap, but not fast. You can make it fast and cheap, but not good. Or you can make it good and fast, but not cheap. And our budget, it's a small budget. It's a moderate budget. Maybe about a minute of Avatar's budget, you know, for a 90-minute movie.
Yeah.
So we made it good, and we made it cheap, but we didn't make it fast.
Well, it was well worth the wait.
Story.
I will just let you know that much. It was very much well worth the wait. In the process of trying to get it made, was there anything that you had to just forget about or leave on the cutting room floor or change completely because, one, it wasn't going to fit in the budget, two, it was taking too long, things like that?
Oh yeah, we had to make a lot of compromises. I mean, any director, with the exception of someone like Jim Cameron, who has an unlimited budget, and deservedly so, you know, he's an exception to that rule, but most directors, at some point you hit an area where you've got to make compromises, and we made a few. I think the one that hurt the most was the opening of the movie has a glorious Cossack cavalry charge against the Martian tripods in 1898. That's where our General Kushnerov comes in. He's a Cossack colonel just outside of St. Petersburg, and he leads this fantastic charge of 1,000 Cossacks brandishing swords and carbines against 3 Martian tripods, with the inevitable result. And it would have been a magnificent scene. It was actually the first scene I conceptualized when I wrote the original treatment.
So you wrote...
That had to be cut. We had to cut it, but it is on the DVD, I believe, and on the Blu-ray and 3D Blu-ray. We did a beautiful comics adaptation of that sequence, illustrated by an amazing artist from Malaysia, Puppeteer. And his paintings are probably better than the visuals for a film would have looked. They're really gorgeous, and you can, if you buy the DVD or Blu-ray, you'll see them on there on the extras edition.
So one of the things of being someone who kind of helped create this story, were you just sitting around one day going, hey, you know what, let's do a sequel to War of the Worlds, because if you've looked on Netflix, there's quite a few of them, and they're really, really bad.
Well, I read War of the Worlds when I was 9 years old. That was arguably the first science fiction novel I ever read. And for a 9-year-old back in the early 60s, it was quite a stunning piece of reading. Wells' Martians are so relentless and merciless, and his writing is so crisp and unromantic. It's not a child's book. It's maybe the first adult science fiction novel, maybe one of the first modern novels. And that left a lasting impression upon young Joe's mind, to say the least. And over the years, I've watched the other movies. I love the George Pell movie. I actually like the Tom Cruise movie quite a bit. I know there's some people might dispute that film, but I thought it was an outstanding piece of work. But I was long aware that there were sequels to War of the Worlds, like Edison's Invasion of Mars. You know, there's been a lot of sequels. And in the mid-90s, I just finished producing a series at my studio called Captain Simeon and the Space Monkeys.
I remember that.
Yeah, it's a good show. I think for science fiction fans, it was spot on. Unfortunately, Mattel Toys dropped the toy line, and without that, Hallmark wouldn't finance new episodes. But I was sitting there with a really ace team of artists and designers, and we had some work coming in, but it was a few weeks away, and I was thinking, well, we've got a lot of time on our hands. I'm paying these guys, let's put them to work. Well, what can we do? And I thought about projects that had public domain and marquee value combined, and War of the Worlds popped right into my mind. And, you know, like many readers, I had long kind of idly thought about what would you do after the first Martian invasion. So once I took that tack, it all started to come together. So
well,
by 97, 98, I had the original treatment written, a really nice set of designs, and the concept and bios of all the characters.
The designs in this movie are really good. I love the fact that you kept the aliens more octopus-like they were in the original story. But one of the things that stood out the most in this movie completely was the disintegration animation, which you showed every time someone disintegrated. You did that awesome thing where you would see it all flesh off. And I didn't get the pleasure of watching it in 3D because, you know, we just watched it in regular 2D. I can only imagine what that looks like in 3D, and you show it quite often. How much fun was it to actually come up with a sequence of people disintegrating over and over again?
Well, I have to say it was a lot of fun. Our first bit of footage that came back from Korea was the disintegration of Eric's father. And that was really startling. We storyboarded it out and then left it up to the Korean studio to do the effects and figure out how they were going to do it. And they used a combination of After Effects and 2D animation. And it was great. I mean, to me, it reminded me of some of the more edgy underground animated movies that I had seen in the 70s by Ralph Bakshi and some of those. And I thought, okay, this looks really, really good. And audience reaction at the Comic-Con when we showed our early trailer in 96, in 2006, no, 2008, 2009, that featured that disintegration sequence. And there was always a visceral reaction from people in the crowd when they saw that. People really, really like you. They really, really liked that scene.
Yeah.
So when we were getting in towards the end of the production, I realized we had a couple of disintegration shots, the one of the pilot getting it, which is really nicely done, and the one of Eric's parents. But there really wasn't much else. It was mostly just big tripods blowing up or buildings blowing up. And I thought we really need, in a sick way, I guess, to bring back the human element. So I personally storyboarded all the other disintegration.
More people being disintegrated by alien ray guns. That's what every movie needs, seriously.
Yeah, well, it was a lot of fun drawing them. I was questioning my own values on drawing them with eyeballs popping out.
Yeah, you're a little too. Should he lose a nose at this point? Should we see it fly off? Maybe an eye comes off and hits somebody in the face, and, you know, lots of fun. But that just kind of sets the whole tone for this just really awesome movie that I was completely blown away by. I loved the designs. I loved this kind of steampunkish element. I loved where it was going. I loved all the characters. I loved the fact that it harkened back to a great adventure movie in the vein of, like, Sky Captain. It was all I equate it to that, you know, something that deserves so much more recognition than it got because of what it was doing. And so
yeah, thank you. Yeah, some of our critics have been on. Some of the critics just didn't seem to get it. You know, they even questioned the premise of the film, or they didn't understand.
Like, why would the Martians want to come back? You know, because they lost round one doesn't mean they're going to lose round two. Where can people see this, and when can they get that on home video?
Well, you can get the home video pretty much at any store that's going to carry videos, but in particular Walmart and Target.
Walmart sells this?
Yeah, Walmart is our primary distributor, which is pretty cool. I have some issues with Walmart in terms of the way they treat their employees. I can't argue that, but if you're going to go wide with a DVD like this, they're the best people to go with. Here's our box cover art.
Love it.
Yeah, it's really nice. Anderson did a terrific job, and you can buy that at any Walmart, Target, Best Buy. You can get it on Netflix, iTunes, through Amazon. I believe Dish might be carrying it, so it's getting out there. It's pretty widely available. I think the best version to get if you have Blu-ray is our Blu-ray. It's a combination. I sound like a salesman. It's a combination of Blu-ray and 3D Blu-ray. So if you have 3D Blu-ray,
love
you
3D.
can watch it in 3D. If you don't have 3D, you can just watch it on regular Blu-ray.
All right,
And,
well,
I've seen it both ways on Blu-ray, and it looks really good. The 3D, especially on a home system, is stunning. It's not as good as a theatrical, but it's quite good.
yeah, I'm entirely spoiled by 3D and Blu-ray. So thank you immensely for coming and talking to me about this movie. I was looking forward to it like forever and ever, and it was, like I said, it was well worth the wait, and I can't wait to see what you have coming up in the future.